boy, did we have one hell of an election Sunday today. Not only did we have one massive victory for the right, no, we've had two massive victories for the right. First of all, I want to apologize because I couldn't cover these two elections, including also last week the Swiss election because of school reasons. There was a very hectic week. But now I'm back and I have a lot of time to cover everything that we have missed and everything that's still going to happen. So let's start right here with the Landtagswahl in Thüringen, where, as expected, the AfD performed massively well. 23.4%, they doubled, plus of 12.8%. The Left Party, which was already the governing party, going up slightly by 2%, but in exchange the CDU collapsing, down minus 11%, down to 21.8%. SPD and Greens both with a loss, green wave. And the FDP coming back into parliament, it seems. They are currently, at this time, if we look into Europe elects, they post relatively regularly about this, about 13 votes above the 5% threshold, which means that we have no idea if they're going to make it into parliament. It'll take until the last vote is counted to decide that. Currently, if the FDP make it in, this would be the seat count. 5 for the FDP, 5 for the Greens, 8 for the SPD, CDU 21, and the AfD 22. Second strongest party. They are now, I think, second strongest party in almost every East German state, except for Berlin. The Left Party, of course, still first. Well, now first, but they were governing in a coalition of red, green, which in total has lost 4 seats and I think is no longer able to govern. If you look here, yes, they have lost their majority. So now only if they got them to get to them, but the FDP won't govern with the Left Party. So that's basically not gonna happen. They could technically govern with the CDU. CDU has said that they won't govern with the Left Party or with the AfD, which would be the greatest coalition of all time. Alternatively, a coalition like this, but that would really require a lot of parties to cross a lot of boundaries that they've set. But this kind of coalition or left CDU coalition might be the only way a government be built here. If we're going to look at how the country itself voted, very interesting. The AfD got a few more. Both the CDU and the AfD got more local seats than actually expected. Most predictions saw them have less for the AfD. They got a lot of these relatively closely, but the CDU, weirdly enough, actually went in first in these direct votes. When looking at the country votes, things look a bit different. It's weird, kind of seeing how the CDU is so strong here and how the SPD was able to win here, but that's just because of the local candidates that are very popular there. Participation in this election has also been the highest since 1994, which is, of course, the AfD effect. Wherever they are successful, electoral participation rises exponentially, which is, of course, showing that they are great for democracy and a very democratic party that is not fascist. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to the second election that's happened today, the second local election, of which we only have an exit poll, which is the Umbrian regional election, in which right now it looks like the Lega of Matteo Salvini will massively perform, up to 39% in this former left-wing stronghold. The Democratic Party down to 19%, only 19% in this massive stronghold of theirs. They halve in support, down by 17%. The Fratelli d'Italia, I don't know how to pronounce that, but the Brothers of Italy, 11%. This would be their best ever result. Plus of 5. The Five Star Movement down to 9%, minus 6. They are, I think, if this comes true, we can declare them as a dead party. They're over. Five Star Movement is over. Forza Italia at 6%. This kind of also Lega, but focusing generally just on the presidential candidate at 4%, meaning that the Lega itself is like at 42% almost. With the left parties all losing except this new one. All of them lose. Whilst here, almost all of them gain. And if we look at the coalition blocks here, the presidential election is even more of a landslide. 60% for Tessay, the candidate of the right coalition, and the left-wing coalition Bianconi loses dramatically down to 33.3%, a minus of 25 for the presidential candidate of the left. This is really incredible. This is massive. Now, because I couldn't cover it last time around because I was not available, I'm also going to show you the Swiss election results rather late. I'm sure nobody's interested in this. Less of an interesting election for the right, a kind of a loss. So these two elections are very sweet now. Here the Swiss People's Party lose 12 seats, 3%. Social Democrats lose, well, basically all the main parties lose, and the Greens gain quite strongly, both Green parties here. But also the Evangelical People's Front. Incredible. And the Federal Democrats. Which, interesting how many Christian parties, or Catholic, or just generally religious parties Switzerland has. With this being the new assembly, I think probably the Swiss People's Party will continue governing, but let's see. That will probably will be very interesting to follow as well. Also, today there have been Bulgarian local elections, of which I know relatively little, except for a few things I was sent here about the elections. Seemingly, right-wing force parties are performing rather well in them as well. I can maybe search up something here. Bulgarian local elections, but I doubt that there's a lot of coverage about them. 2015, yeah, not even, even those aren't really very, very covered. One thing is, of course, the elections in Sofia, the capital. Those are going to be very interesting. Where Gerb won in 2015. But what happened now, I don't know. As far as I know, from an actual Bulgarian who told me about it, the right seems to be winning there as well. Anyways, this would be, I think, the entirety of the recap, except, of course, for the last big one, and that would be Canada. Oh, Canada. I'm going to take the English version here just to make visualization easier. Where the Conservatives won, but lost. They lost, they won. They had a majority of the percentages, got a big plus, but the Liberals still remained the strongest party and will now be leading a minority government. Whilst the People's Party of Maxime Bernier failed dramatically, securing only 1.6% and losing their only seat. Oh boy. But the good thing, for example, here is the far left New Democrats losing 15 seats, and quite strongly here. The Bloc Québécois, center left, center right kind of party, largely just concerned with Quebec separatism. Now the third largest party, also very strong. It's really it's Quebec where this election was lost, yeah, or won for the Liberals. Generally, this entire region here is where Conservatives would have had to perform much, much better. Ontario as well. That was probably the fault of a certain local premier who decided to not follow up any of his promises and be like Trump, but without anything that makes Trump good. Well, anyways, this would be everything so far that has happened in the last 2 weeks that I have sadly missed. But I hope this recap will inform everyone who hasn't informed themselves yet about this whole thing that has happened. Anyways, I hope I'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're informed about everything that has happened in the last week. I hope you were already informed, because that would make this whole thing a lot simpler. And I hope you'll see each other in the next video. Goodbye.